Hey everyone, welcome back to the Beauty School Bobby podcast. Today, my guest is Jennifer Alvarez. And when I tell you that her and I have been trying to connect for like the past year, I mean, we have scheduled and had to reschedule. So I'm so happy that this episode finally happened. Jennifer is a salon owner in Naperville, Illinois. And so she's in the Chicago area. And you know how much I love Chicago. So talking to her was really great to talk about the state of the industry right now, and the ways that salons can really connect with schools, and just talking about open communication in the salon. So she's a salon coach. And one of the things that I really love talking to her about was the structure of the salon and how open communication about your expectations of your stylist and who you're hiring was so interesting to me. And I just really, really loved her take on all of it. So I hope you love this episode. When you're done listening, make sure that you leave a 5-star review. You leave a comment if you're watching on YouTube. Make sure you follow me at Beauty School Bobby and follow us on Beauty and Style Network. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Beauty School Bobby podcast. Jennifer, thank you so much for being with us today. I am so excited to talk to you. I know that you wear a ton of different hats in the industry. So you are a salon owner, podcaster, educator, and salon coach. I'm probably missing something in there, but we're going to talk about all of it today. So thank you for being here. I think it's so cool to highlight somebody that is doing so many different things in the beauty industry, because I think you have a lot of interesting perspectives on all of this. So thank you for being here, and kind of want to just jump in. So I want to hear about how the beauty industry happened for you and when beauty school happened and where that was.
Yeah, thank you so much, Bobby, for having me. I'm just so excited to get into this because even though I've been in the industry for over 20 years, I still remember getting into it. So I was in 7th grade when I made that decision. I am going to go to beauty school. And, it stemmed from me having more of a creative mind. I was not a good student in school. I was kind of a troublemaker. And I grew up in a household that we didn't have a lot of money, and I knew that I was not going to get a scholarship. So I was like, I'm going to go to beauty school. The high school I went to, they offered a trade school, cosmetology. And I kid you not, Bobby, you're going to die when you hear this. I paid $500 to go to beauty school.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm like, I don't know. Was it because I was poor? I'm not for sure. But the school funded my education. And that was such a blessing. And so when I graduated high school, I'm going to age myself here, but in 2002, I had my license to do hair. And so I just hit the pavement running. And it was the very first time in my life that I felt like I was good at something and that it came easy for me when math and geometry and science, all of that stuff I was not good at. And so when I went to beauty school and I got my hands into hair, I just really loved doing updos and makeup. And I started my career right away. And I just could not wait to get out of my house and start making some money.
Yeah.
So that's
isn't it
the
funny
beginning.
though how you become like good at those things when it's in beauty school? I think that's such an important message because I think so many people feel that way. Like we hear all the time, they're like, don't look at my transcripts, like don't look at my grades. And I'm like, oh, we don't, because we know that when you get into the school, like I think that's so good to like hear, to not let that hold you back. And although again, you become good at those things, hair cutting and all of that stuff like incorporates it, but because it's something you're interested in, it really is just such a different way. So I think it's important to like not let that hold you back. And it sometimes is a thing that pushes you into this career. I can't tell you how many people have told me that, and so I think that's good to relate that like, you can still do this and you can be so successful at it. Like, even if, school just like isn't, books and like all this stuff, it just isn't for you.
I was definitely determined to make this work for myself. Again, I was a troublemaker. School was really difficult for me. And it's funny because it just was so like night and day of beauty school versus my high school career. And I actually was student of the year at beauty school, which most people in my high school were like, her? Really? That girl?
When you say troublemaker, do you just mean like just like talks too much on the report card? Is that like what it was, or were you like actually disruptive?
I was disruptive. I did a lot of stupid things growing up, and I chose, not the best friends and people to hang out with. So yeah, I mean, I got in trouble with the law. So
You did? Okay.
yeah, so
That'll be a different episode. We'll get into that later.
I can look back and laugh at it now, but I'm like,
Yeah.
God, you're so dumb. Like, why would you choose to do those things? And
But maybe you just got it out of your system early also.
Yeah, it was definitely rough. I was very immature and just, emotional. I was always emotional, reactive throughout my 20s as well, even though the beauty industry, it really like saved my life of finding the path that I was able to find success. So, I give a lot of thanks and gratitude to all of my mentors and my teachers that were like, you can do this, like keep going, because I really didn't have like a lot of beliefs in myself, because like the trajectory of my life was like this bad path of like, you're probably going to go to jail. You're probably going to do stupid things. Like stay on this path of like, you're doing very well in beauty school. You're doing really well at hair. Like just keep going and pursue that.
Yeah, I think you have to find the thing, like you just found your passion early enough, which I think is so great. And for you to have something to look forward to. When you had mentioned, like you had said, like you didn't grow up with like a lot or, things handed to you and all of that. Do you remember at all, like kind of being in those early stages of your career of what success looked like for you? Like, what was it at that time? And I'm sure you have far surpassed what you even thought possible. But at that time, what did it look like for you? What was success to you? Was there somebody that you were watching or you were like, I want to be that would equal success? What was that?
Well, growing up, my sister, and I love my sister, we have a great relationship, but she was, for example, just two grades above me. She was valedictorian. And It was always like her in the spotlight, always made anything she tried out for, straight A student, like, she was just the best at everything. And so I definitely looked up to her, and I still do. Man, I want to get good. I want to be good at something. I want to be known for something. And so I think that really like pushed me to like, I'm going to try out for this competition. So I did a lot of hair competitions in school, and, winning awards doing that. Again, it was like, I finally found a lane where I could excel and, not only receive, credibility through these awards, but the praise that I was getting for that. I was like, okay, I am good at this. I really needed to be instilled belief in myself that I could do something good with my life.
Yes. And then was owning your own business, I mean, being a salon owner now and like the companies that you have, like, was that even a thought in your mind of a possibility? Was that what you always wanted?
So it was really cool. And I still remember this because it was so out of my comfort zone, but there was a competition in beauty school actually it was not just beauty school. It was the entire trade school. So there was automotive, there was nursing, and the competition was start your own business. And so whoever would win that competition would win a laptop. We're talking about like back then, the laptops looked like a big box.
Yeah.
And so after school, after beauty school and after high school, we had this extra curricular activity where we had to learn, like, how do you write up a business plan? You had to spec out the space. How did you make it profitable? And it definitely was uncomfortable for me because I had to think in elements beyond doing hair. And I really loved it. And I ended up winning that competition. And
That's awesome.
I think going through that and having the support of my beauty school teachers as well, I was like, oh, so maybe owning something in my future, that could be a possibility. So I think
Yes.
being emerged into those opportunities helped to just get my creative juices going and really think beyond just doing hair behind the chair. So I really credit the school of helping students think beyond just a solo artist.
It's so important. And there are so many different competitions in the industry now, and different ways to get connected. And we just always say, I feel like not a ton of students have that motivation. I think that maybe sometimes they feel tapped out. I mean, if you're going to school and you're working and maybe you're a mom or whatever, you're taking care of family members, whatever the situation is outside of school, I think sometimes students don't make that extra effort. I mean, I think there's 1% of students anyways, that are kind of like the top tier that, are gonna, do something like you've done. And it's always the people that chase those competitions that will do the extra work. And like I said, there's more opportunity now than ever, scholarships and mentorship opportunities. And I feel like every day we're getting emailed something or I'm tagged in something that is a competition. And I think, just that message of showing you that there is a different way from doing that. And then also winning that, like building your confidence to say, okay, maybe I can. Okay, maybe I can. And I think it's just really, really important to pursue those things while you're in school, even in like a high school cosmetology program, starting to think that way is so, so valuable. So you got out of beauty school. Did you work in a salon for a while before you opened your own, or did you go like immediately?
Oh no. It was a long path before I opened up my business. And, when I got out of school, it was I can look back and laugh now. But when I first started doing hair, I remember my very first hair color. It was like a highlight. And I ran into the back room just crying because I was like, I have no idea what I'm doing. I don't know how to color hair. I just really freaked out. And I really wanted to be really good at doing hair. I think that it could be a personality thing. It could be people just in the service-based industry. We really want people to feel confident and to feel good about themselves with the artwork that you're doing and creating for them. And so I made it my mission to be like, I'm going to master this. I want to be the best at hair, the best at makeup. And so I learned quickly how much more education I needed. Again, in my 20s, I got into a lot of trouble. So there was a time when I first got out of school and started working that I thought, maybe I can't do this. You kind of go through these cycles of, if you messed up a haircut and you messed up a color or just life is getting tough, it's so easy just to say, I'm going to quit. Mm-hmm. It's hard to keep going, but if you keep going, that's really when like strength, your perseverance, that's where success happens. And so I almost quit. I bounced around from salon to salon because nothing felt right. Nothing felt right until so I got my license in 2002. And then in 2005 is where I found a salon in the Chicagoland suburbs. Now, I grew up in a really tiny town of 1,400 people, and I was poor. So I knew I wanted to get out of the town. I wanted to have more in my life. The small town wasn't for me. I was surrounded by not the right people. And I had a difficult time getting out of that. And if anyone's listening to this, please know that you are the equivalent to the 5 people you spend the most time with. And if you don't look up to the people that you're surrounding your space and your time with, you got to get out. If you want to be successful, you have to surround yourself with successful people. Mm-hmm. So I found myself in the Chicagoland suburbs, and there is where they drilled us on hair design and makeup and updos. And it was finally like, I was getting that challenge and that push that I needed. Like I needed that fire underneath me. And when I was able to land that position, that's really when my career started to take off behind the chair. And that's when I found, I can make $100,000 doing hair now.
Mhm.
So it was a pivotal moment in my career.
And then what led to the ownership? Like, how did you open your own salon and how does that look different than what the salon is today?
Oh my gosh. So I was at a salon working as an employee behind the chair, producing six figures. Also as a platform artist, I had some amazing mentors. If you can find mentors to help you grab onto their coattails, there's a saying where if you stand on giants' shoulders, you get taller faster. So if you want to get bigger, you want to grow, work with mentors. And I was at that salon for 11 years where I found myself not being as challenged as I would have liked. And I found myself wanting more. I started teaching bridal classes. I started doing weddings. And what my idea of success looked like started to look different from what my boss at the time wanted. And so we decided to part ways. And that was in 2016. And it's interesting because when I left, I actually didn't have a plan. And I was on the couch for a week crying. My husband's like, yeah, you can't do this. And after a week of just feeling all the feels of oh my gosh, what am I going to do now? I opened up a salon suite. And I opened up a salon suite and it was about 3 months later. I'm like, I don't like this at all. I don't like being by myself. I miss teaching and helping and mentoring other hairstylists. So I started to hire right away. And then it evolved then to a salon where now fast forward to today, there's 9 employees, a part of my company, but it did not start out that way for sure. And it's been quite the adventure of just learning and growing and just constantly stretching yourself.
I think it's so good to hear your message of it's constantly I was scared, but this is what I learned from it. And I just went for it. I think that that's the biggest thing. I think a lot of times, especially with social media now, because that wasn't such a big part of our life, obviously, back then and starting out, it wasn't a world that we lived in, and it wasn't there yet. And I think that so many people just think oh, well, Jennifer just did this and this and this, and now she's here. And it's so good to talk about the reality of it and the fear and the ups and the downs and all of those things, because I think that what I've learned is that, a chapter is ending, you leave the salon but you can still be sad for the week. It's not that you're oh, okay, well, that was the best thing to ever happen. And then I opened the salon and it's all just this
Yeah.
perfect little picture and perfect little path. I think that, a lot of times students don't maybe think about that part of it and really how hard it's going to be. But what we know now, and not even that we're done learning all of those things, but I think we're in this in between middle of where we're okay, we know that it is going to be okay. And we know that we are going to figure it out, but there is emotion in that. There are ups and downs, and that part doesn't go away. I think sometimes people are okay, beauty school was the hard part. I think that's what I feel have really been on this recently of a lot of students, and it's so good to celebrate that hard work of beauty school, right? And for us, it's the biggest thing to them. They're talking about it in high school, and then the big thing is, you get day one and then you start taking clients, and you think that's the biggest part because that's what you're in right now. But it doesn't just, okay, you graduated beauty school, you did it, and now everything's really easy. I've gone back and forth on the idea of talking to them about just being in it and focusing on beauty school and letting that be the experience, right? You have to be in the present and live, that life through all of that. But to know that we're gonna celebrate you. You're gonna, when you pass a boards, it's so exciting, but buckle up, because it's almost I don't want to intimidate them or scare them, but it's okay, now this is the hard part. You got through beauty school and you kind of thought that was gonna be the hard part, but buckle up because it's coming and it's not just done. It's not just you've finished it and now you get to go. I think that's a difference of like the traditional college route is you get your degree and you start your career, and then your career path is kind of, set, and you might change companies. But I think in the beauty industry, it's even like, okay, well, now you got to go. And do you have the mental strength to stay? Because you're going to be challenged in so many ways. What are you going to do to stay through the next, 10, 20 years? And I think this is something that I think I've seen on your social media too, is talking about pushing through that and pushing through the ups and downs. So is that something that you feel like, and as far as your coaching role goes, that you're seeing a lot of, is just the burnout maybe a little earlier than maybe other people have experienced, or maybe what your experience was of burnout? Are you seeing it a little sooner?
I wouldn't say that I'm seeing burnout sooner, but what I do see, and this is not a right now, this is how people are feeling. Maybe there is the influence of the activities that we're doing when we're scrolling and we're seeing everyone's highlight reel and we're thinking that it was an overnight success. We have that comparison, and comparison is the thief of joy. And we can look at other people's success and say, why am I not there yet? And you have this idea in mind of what success looks like for you. And you don't realize that it is hard.
Mm-hmm.
But every path, no matter what you choose, whether it's this industry or a different industry, will be hard. And
Mm-hmm.
what we forget is what brings us joy. What are those things that really fill our soul that helps us to get through those hard days? You said it earlier of like the fear. That doesn't go away. The hard, that doesn't go away either. It's one of my mentors told me, like, you can climb any ladder that you want. Just make sure it's leaning against the right wall. So
Mm-hmm.
beauty school, it's hard. That being behind the chair, being in a treatment room, that's hard. But so is everything else. So just remember why you got into this industry, because you love making people feel good about themselves. You enjoy doing care. You enjoy doing makeup. You love the transformation. Like, always remember that. And that helps you to persevere through those hard days. It's so much easier. And I said this earlier. It's easy to just give up. It's easy to quit, but that doesn't mean that stopping in this industry and saying, oh, I'm going to be a nurse now. Like, you think that's going to be better for you? No, just, you have to truck through those difficult times, stay focused on education, find the right mentors, listen to great podcasts like this one, read books. You have to fill your mind and your mind, your ears, with the things that will help you grow in your life. If you're consuming content that's making you feel exhausted and burnt out, you're looking at the wrong content.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I really find people are saying, I'm burnt out, or we're focused on the wrong things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you have to take control of that. And it really is one of those things where you have to decide, like you said, even with your friend group, like you have to decide that maybe the salon that you're at isn't feeding you in the most positive way. Maybe they're struggling, and you can say, like, I'm going to let that be your thing. Like, even if you've only been there a year or two, it just might be not the industry, but it might be kind of the wrong place. I just went into a freshman class the other day and was talking to them about this. Like, we just got on the conversation about kind of where they want to go and what they want to do. And that's one thing that we always tell them, is you can always pivot. You can always move if that's what you need to do, but instead of just quitting, which is, I think, what we do, unfortunately see a lot in the industry. It's why the numbers look the way that they do, that instead of just saying, like, I might have ended up at the wrong salon. It's not the industry. Maybe that salon owner or whoever, you're working under needs to find that. And that's okay to say, like, we're going to part ways. And obviously, like, we can talk all day about the proper way to leave a place and all of those things, but, don't burn the bridge. Just make sure that you find the place where you do fit and where it is feeding you. And like you realized, it wasn't out on your own, because I'm sure being alone wasn't what you wanted. You were meant to have a team, but it wasn't at that time. You had to go through that experience of being out on your own to know that, okay, wait, this is actually what I want. And this is the place that I want to go. But I think just being open to that path, open to the knowing that this is gonna be a journey for you, and hopefully you will land, where you're meant to land. But instead of just like giving up on it, it's easy to have an experience at a salon. And I think that's the most, that's what's talked about most on social media is the negative experiences, right? Not the positive ones of, hey, but I am in this place and I love it so much. And look what I'm doing here. I feel like that's not getting the views as much as the negative is, as we know. But I think being able to push through and pivot is really, really important. And that's why, like you said, it is so important to hear these stories, to know that that was your path too, that it didn't always happen. So I'm really interested in your coaching, and in what you're seeing in salons. So I want to talk to you a little bit about how that happened. Did somebody just start reaching out to you? Were people just asking you questions, and then you were like, wait, there's something that I can provide for the industry in this way that's a little bit different?
I love teaching and I love helping people. I would not be where I am today if I did not have people who believed in me and to help me. And so when you work with a coach, think of it as a cheat sheet, fast tracking way to get to where you're wanting easier, to help to avoid wasting time and wasting money.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like to waste my time. I don't like to waste money either. And so, it really started around 2020 when the salon had to shut down because of the pandemic. And I was probably one of the crazy people that was like, perfect, I'm going to master marketing. I'm going to master online coaching and sales. I'm just always hungry to learn more and be the best version of myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I like a challenge. Of course, I don't want things to be hard, but I know that that's how I'm growing. And so I buckled up for that. And I was like, I'm going to help people. I'm going to figure out the things that I needed for my business, and I'm going to help others as well. So I have been working with other salon owners and even just professionals in the industry in general of how do you grow a business? I mean, the hardest thing is going to be your professional and your business development. If you are an employee, if you are a booth renter, if you are a salon suite owner, if you are a salon owner, the main muscle that you have to flex, it's the Pareto principle, right? The 80-20 rule. 80% of your efforts need to be on your business, your business knowledge, customer service, understanding marketing, understanding leadership. Leading yourself is not easy, right? This is why people, when they go to the gym, they have a personal trainer to say like, one more set up, one more push up. But we need that push. And that's why having a coach is just so important. So I don't have all the answers, but if you're looking to open up a salon and grow a team, I'm several steps ahead of you, and I can help you, and I can show you all of the mistakes that I made and how to avoid them, and how can you build up $1 million salon, or how do you get to six figures behind the chair? And I can break this down in the most simplest way because it really just comes down to, for salon ownership, 4 different pillars is what I teach in my salon CEO method, which is around systems, understanding how do you duplicate things? How do you, like, for instance, a signature consultation. Consultations are the number one way of how you can grow your business. The financial aspect. You have to make sure that you're not overspending, and everyone gets so caught up with like, how do you make your space so beautiful? And, you're spending money that we don't even have. The leadership, how do you lead yourself? What are the things that you're working on to grow yourself professionally, right? Like I said, books, podcasts, and then also marketing. How do you grow your clientele? And it's not easy being solo. It's not easy being an employee. It's not easy being a salon owner. Marketing is about sales, and selling is service. And if we can just get our mindset around that, that I think would really help people grow their business. But for me, now that I'm retired behind the chair, I get my soul filled by helping other business owners grow their business.
Now, are you working with the team as well, or are you mostly working with the salon owners
My own team,
with the coaching? Who are you coaching? Who are you
the
talking with?
salon owner, the salon
Okay.
owner. And it's typically, there's so many great salon owners that so badly want to grow their business. They want to have the right team members. They have this desire to have this team they have this synergy. They have this camaraderie where they are energized through inspiration and education, and they work well with each other. And it's really hard to cultivate that. It's hard to gather these people in one room to make that all work, because so many people are just looking out for themselves, and they miss the purpose of working together. And, the Chinese proverb of you can go fast alone or you can go far together. So if you want to take your career farther, then you're going to work on a team together, because that's how you're going to make the most amount of money in this industry, is working with people. Versus burnout can really happen when you're solo, because
Yeah.
you're only
Have
one
you had
person.
the have you had the experience of like really having to have tough conversations with salon owners about the leadership? Like, have you gotten into a place where you're like, okay, wait, I actually, the salon owner's coming to me and they're telling me like what the problem is. But now after work, like it's a leadership issue. And have you had to have like those tough conversations of like, you have to change this before anything else in the salon can work?
We work a lot with focusing on the infrastructure, the foundation of the business, of what can build a solid ground. Because you have to have a solid foundation, because you will go through difficult times. Things are going to break in your business as you grow. That's just the nature of how business operates. And the clientele that I'm working with currently, a lot of them are just getting started. They're either on their first hire, or they've got maybe some independent contractors, some employees. Everything is a little bit duct taped together.
Yeah, that's such a
and
good way to say it. I love that.
and we just need more systems and a foundation in place. And we are emotional creatures. They've started this business from scratch. Typically, it wasn't handed to them. Oftentimes, these businesses weren't purchased, like a purchased existing business. These are people who started something from scratch, like I have,
Mhm.
where I had no one. I had to figure it all out and make a lot of mistakes along the way, and invest in my continuing education to learn more. And I love helping the salon owners that are in that position. And it is just more about, when we talk about the leadership, oftentimes the questions are, well, how do I pay them? How do I train them? A lot of times these salon owners are so good at what they do. They're so good at their craft, but the business side of it is not something that we have learned enough about. Even in beauty school, that competition, I mean, gosh, that was like forever ago. I didn't really remember much except the fact that I could do it.
Mhm.
So learning business and investing your time and energy and money into learning it and how to grow your business, that's where change and transformation can happen.
Yeah, I agree. What are you most focused on right now? What's like the main thing that they're coming to you about? I know you said that you're working with people that are kind of just starting, and getting that like up and running. Is it the creating of the structure? Like, is it just that? Are they like, I don't know how to do this? Or is there like, hey, this is broken and I need to fix it? What are they coming to you with?
How do I get unstuck? How do I start? I am
Mhm.
exhausted. I am tired. I am doing everything I think I should be doing, but the needle isn't moving.
Mhm.
I am just drowning.
And what do
That's
you
what I hear
do?
the
Like,
most.
what's your first recommendation? Like, what do you do to fix that? What are you coming in with?
We do an audit of their business. What do you got? I mean, just like, okay, if you're in beauty school right now, when we're talking about hair color, for example, we need to know where we're starting and we have to
Mhm.
have an idea of where we're going. And then we put the steps together. But if you don't know exactly where you are and you're not 100% clear on what direction you want to go, you're going to run into some major issues with trying to develop the right formula, the placement, the technique to get the final result. It will be a questionable final result versus it's
Mhm.
so much easier to pinpoint a destination, even if it's just like 3 months from now. Okay. There's a rule. There's a book called The Compound Effect where it's like, just change one little thing over and over and over again.
Mhm.
Right. There's, have you heard of the saying of, if you change your destination just by 1 degree, it could change the entire direction you're going from,
Mhm.
if we changed our direction by 1 degree and you're in Chicago, it could either put you in Florida or up to Maine
Mhm.
just by one
Yes.
degree.
Yes.
So it's, you don't want to overwhelm or complicate things. And we have to start out with just really small and just understand like, okay, what really is the problem? Because oftentimes we're thinking of all these symptoms where we're like, well, I don't have enough clients. I don't have enough money. Okay, well, those are usually symptoms to the problem. And the problem might just be, well, you're not selling yourself.
Mhm.
Consistency. You post one time on social media and you expect people to be lining up the door to see you. That's not how it works.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I love that you get to go in and identify that stuff. Like that's so fun. And getting to go in and be like, oh no, this is what it is. Like, so I'm sure it's a little bit of detective work. I know you said you do audit and you will go through numbers and all that stuff, but it really takes time to get to know a business to be able to identify where the issues really are. And I think you're so right about determining where you're going. I think the mission statements and all of those things that in other industries or other businesses, it's very clear you have to have this. It's really important. I think we're just now picking up on those things as well of making that clear to your team, making sure your team understands as a salon owner where you're going and what you want instead of seeing this person that's frazzled and trying to take care of the business in between clients and just not really having a clear direction. I mean, if they feel lost and all over the place, the stylists at the salon are going to feel lost and all over the place also.
100%. And you might not have to have your entire future book written,
Yeah.
but just picking out one thing. And one of my mentors said, you have to just be at least 51% clear, not 100%, just 51%. Because the reality is you will face challenges. You will face new obstacles and problems that you're going to have to overcome. Planning is going to prepare you for success.
Mhm.
And just doing a small amount of planning. We are so close to our own businesses. We have this tunnel vision that it's
Mhm.
difficult for us to zoom out and say, oh, that's what's happening. That's what's going on. That's why I feel this overwhelm or I feel like a failure. And that's why working with a coach is so important to say like, all right, just hang on tight. Let's focus on just one little thing and just do that. I like a step-by-step process because otherwise we hear all this, like we're in this information overload, consuming. We are consumers versus doers, and we need to take action in our life more than what we are consuming. Again, going back to the 80-20 rule, you need to make sure that you're taking action 80% of the time and learning 20%. Just like in school, we can talk about theory all day long, but until you actually get your hands into it and actually put in the work, that's when it starts to digest and resonate in your head of like, oh, I understand color theory. I understand cutting theory. You have to practice it.
Yeah, I think it's interesting in the salon industry too, is there are so many different ways that a salon can work. and be successful. And there's not like a cookie cutter way that it's going to look for everybody. So I think that's what's interesting about people that do coaching is that you really have to be able to speak to different ways that this can go, and different ways that it can work for your stylist. And there, like you said, there's the pillars that you need to follow and fit, but it's not like I feel like when I came into the beauty industry, like I really feel like there was, or it felt like there was more of a cookie cutter, right? And then the whole, the suites and all that stuff coming in, and people just doing stuff in a different way, really obviously, as we know, disrupted all of that, especially after the pandemic and all of those things. So I think we're definitely still figuring out what does work and what doesn't. Or what the most important things to put it in place in your business, whether you have one employee with you or whether you have 50 employees with you, that all still has to stay the same, and you can grow from it, but there does just have to be that foundation and that base there, in order to be successful. And I think it's just, again, being around different people. I can't stress enough about the importance of going to conferences or shows or whatever it is, wherever you feel fed, going to those places, because talking to other people that are doing things a different way, or being like, oh, well, I can't implement that exactly into my salon, but I can do it in this way. It is still very gray. Again, there's pillars and there's those things, but I just think we're seeing so many people being successful in their own ways that, like, for me, that's exciting. Like, I like that you can do it in multiple ways, but I do think that it is shaking things up. So for some people that, maybe they were doing it a certain way and now that's not working for them, I've seen it really, really affect the salon owners that were maybe in the industry for a while when I came in, because now I feel like they're just like, what do we do? And you see the salons that are coming into the schools and wanting to talk to the students and wanting to kind of adapt to their new way. And the ones that are not as successful right now are the ones that are like, no, this is how we've done it. This is just how we're always going to do it. I think that's the part too, is like, we have to be able to change. We have to be able to adapt when the world changes or our clients change or what the stylists want changes. What do you think the biggest challenges in the industry right now for, salon owners that have had their companies for a while? Is it their employee retention? Like, what's the biggest challenge?
Well, business is business. So when we say that there's different ways that you can operate your business, it does not need to be complex, right? People might have a different positioning when it comes to their services and the products, but that's like the only variable, really. The financial aspect, the marketing aspect, even the leadership aspect, it doesn't vary that much from business to business. And the most important thing, I believe, is that there's clear expectations and the structure of your systems in place, because people want freedom. But in order to have freedom, we have to have a playbook of like, how is the game played? And
Mm-hmm.
the expectation too of, this is not going to be easy to build your business. And I always view at least my employees as partners, where I'm going to help you grow by developing you professionally, your technical skills, and I'm going to market for you. But you also need to put in the work as well, marketing yourself, selling yourself, and being clear with that. I think that there is a lot of baby boomers who have salons that they're completely burnt out. They are trying to be so flexible. They've lost their structure. They've lost their joy because they're being people pleasers versus business has to operate this way. This is how we do things. So either you accept that or you can find something else. But believe you me, if you go and straight from beauty school into salon suite, salon ownership, salon booth renting, you have not experienced enough or have the business sense to most likely make it. And so what I am hearing is these booth renters are not able to pay rent because they don't know how to market themselves. They don't know how to sell themselves. And so salon owners who are booth renting salon owners, they're in this pickle and predicament of, well, how do I help them? The salon owners at the end of the day are just like, I want this thing to work. and I want to help these people. But that's where you just have to draw the line and say, well, you know what? Maybe this isn't for you then.
I've been talking to a lot of salon owners about that. I think we saw a lot of people leaving like in groups, the idea of the commission salon and either opening up smaller, more boutique style salons and kind of going, out on their own. But I think it really handicapped a lot of businesses for a minute because it was that fear of losing an employee, a fear of losing a stylist. And I think thanks to conversations, that you're having all the time and that there's a lot of people at least talking about it to be like, it's okay. It's okay if they leave. And there are new, like allowing that to happen if they haven't made it clear, what their expectations are and they're having to kind of navigate and figure out what that is. I think it's just so important that like that's made super clear in the beginning. And if you don't fit with that, then that's not a stylist that needs to be working with you. Like it has to fit for both people. But that's why that communication is so, so, so important and why it's important to know the goals and the path and all of that. I think more than anything, that's what I think the stylists want now. Like the young stylists going into a place, they really want to understand what it's going to look like for them and what the salon is going to offer. But like you said, it doesn't necessarily have to be like people pleasing and just like, oh, we're just going to do whatever you want and make your schedule and you do this and all, but like a joint understanding and on both sides, salon ownership or the stylist, like it's okay if that doesn't fit. We have to stop being so scared of if that doesn't work. And if that isn't, in 3 years from now, if that doesn't work for you anymore, it's okay to go. And it's okay to really pursue a path where you feel like you do fit.
Yeah. It kind of makes me think about if you're looking for freedom, if you're looking for all this flexibility, please know that autonomy comes with responsibility. So if you say, I'm going to come and go as I please, then you're not creating consistency in your business that is in favor of what clients need. And the business has needs. If you're going into a business, and you're looking for benefits, 401k, healthcare, paid time off, sick leave, those things cost money. So to go into a business, and this is not like an age thing either, because I've dealt with this with 40-year-olds as well of this, oh, I want XYZ. Okay, that's great. But the business, I want to give that to you, but here's what the business needs. And if you can't meet that threshold, then we don't have a deal here. And I don't want to come off as too tough or whatnot. But the thing is that you have to respect the structure of your company, because the second that we're like, oh, sure, we're being a pushover really. And that's when things start to become weak. And that's when confusion is happening with the team of like, well, why does this person get to do that? So the more just say, this is what we're doing. It's good to be open and take surveys of your team of like, what do you want? But it's also, to be clear is to be kind. And so the more structure that we have of like, what's your growth path look like? One of the things I implemented, which it seemed pretty bold, but I'm glad that I did it because I feel confident and my employees feel confident, is I created a departure protocol. If and when you decide to leave, this is what it's going to look like for you. And this way,
I love this.
it just, I of course want to work with my team forever. And I want us to grow together. But if they have a different growth idea in mind that no longer aligns with the company, they have to understand like how to leave in a way where it is supportive. Because I do want to support the industry. I do want to support the people that I have invested so much of my time and my money in. But people need to know what that looks like.
Okay, can you talk to me a little bit more about how did you come up with this? Like what did you base it off of? Here's what I think I've done right, or here's whatever. Were you taking it from like a different industry or a different, book, podcast, whatever it is? Like, how did you create that? And when do you have that conversation? I mean, is it upon hire that you talk about this? Like, when does this happen?
So, in full transparency, when I started the salon, I'm like, I don't want it corporate. It's going to be like fun. People can do whatever they want. And I quickly was like, no, no, no. I cannot operate a business from that angle because
Mhm.
the person it was hurting was me. I was not paying myself anything. It was bleeding me dry. This is where the overwhelm, the burnt out, like I'm the one who's wearing all the hats in the business. I'm, working full time behind the chair. I was like, this is not the life that I wanted for myself. I was like, forget this. I'm going to go work at Starbucks. And so I decided years later that I would enforce an NDA and non-compete. And I know that there's a lot of discrepancies on social media of like red flag of a salon owner. No, look, we're trying to protect what we have built, and there needs to be rules in place here. And if I'm going to invest in all of my energy and my time, my money into helping you become wildly successful at what you do, I have to protect that. It would be stupid not to. But I do understand the reality of that. If you have a dream to open up your business, I'm not going to stop you from that. But let me tell you how that could look like. And to be able to be transparent with my team, I mean, trust me, there was fear that I was going to have a walkout.
Mm-hmm.
No one left.
Mm-hmm.
Thank God. I was like, Jesus, take the wheel. And it was scary, but I knew it was the right thing to do because there could be even future business opportunities here. You need an
Mm-hmm.
investor, you need a coach, you need, I could buy real estate. You could have a salon in a building I own. Like there's a way that we can do this where we don't have to completely cut ties. And if we cut ties, that's okay too. But let's just do it this way and see how it goes.
Mm-hmm. And so what does it look like? I mean, are you doing that as far as coaching? Is that like something you're adding into salons? Is the departure plan and how, I mean, I know you said it didn't cause like a huge disruption for you, but what does it look like for adding that into a salon that is hiring you?
Well, I believe that, and I only say this from my personal experience, is that if you are going to implement any change, that it has to be well planned. There needs to be a team meeting. There needs to be a discussion. You need to have signed documents where you've read this, you understand it. Let's be open and honest. Like, don't be afraid to share your vision and expectations with your team. Your team actually wants to know. And if they're
Mm-hmm.
unclear of what direction your company is going, this is when they start to create ideas of like, well, it's probably better on the other side. Grass is greener on the other side
Mm-hmm.
versus like, hey, this is how the game is going to play. And I think my team knows that because I say this all the time to them of like, your success is my success. If you're not doing well, I'm not doing well. And I need you to be open and honest with me just as much as I want to be open and honest with you. And you
Mm-hmm.
have to have that two-way street communication and be an effective communicator as a leader. It's not easy. Those fears and the hard of leadership, it does not go away. Do I have, you know, I don't operate my business from a place of fear though, because if I allow that to manifest in my mind, what is it called? The Murphy Law. The more that you like obsess about the fear of this, the more likely it's going to happen to you.
Mm-hmm.
So you
Yeah.
can't operate your life or your business from a place of fear. Who
Mm-hmm.
does that serve?
Yeah.
That's not
No,
what God wants for
absolutely.
you, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I think that implementing something like this to me makes communication clear of your expectation. And it also is like, oh, okay, like if and when I decide that I'm going to do my own thing, I have to go to my boss. I have to let them know this is how the boss or my owner is going to support me. We don't have
Mm-hmm.
to make this an icky thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's always been like dancing around eggshells. Everyone's whispering. And the rule is that no one will know about this except me first. So
Mm-hmm.
I can help support you along the way. So, I mean,
Yes.
you have to think about how does the team feel? How does your clients feel?
Mm-hmm.
If we're clear on like how this path looks like, I think that we can all feel so much more confident in our business because people, they might not stay forever and that's okay. You've
Yeah.
got the infrastructure built in where you're going to survive. You're constantly recruiting and looking for the next new talent generation.
Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely. Now, for a growing salon, in recruiting, what are you recommending right now? How are you recommending for salons to get in front of new stylists, and what ways have you seen work at this time?
Going to schools is, for me, it's the number one thing to do. Now, again,
Mhm,
I love teaching. So
mhm,
going to the school, and yes, of course, I'm like, oh, Refined Beauty's the best salon, but I don't spotlight and position just my salon. I want to
mhm,
give the students something very tangible that they can walk away with, that they're like, dang, that was good. I needed that today. Like, I'm going to
mhm,
take you to church.
mhm,
And, I love talking about the seven step signature consultation because that's how I know that you will be successful behind the chair. So I loved teaching that to the students, getting them into role play, uncovering the fears or the unknown. What happens when I graduate school?
mhm,
What's next? I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Yeah, it's going to be hard. Some of you will not make it because that's the choice that you decided that you couldn't handle it.
mhm.
And giving the students some tough love and some massive inspiration that they can run with. That's how, I get DMs. I get a flood of DMs every time I visit a school. The students are like, oh my gosh, I needed that today. And I stay connected with them in my DMs. Tell me about your career. Tell me about school. What are you doing? We need to remember that, recruiting and building up a team is about building relationships. Get
Mhm.
into the schools, invest your time and energy into supporting the younger generation of what their career is going to look like. Man, if
I love
somebody
that.
reached out to me, I mean, we didn't have social media when I started, but if somebody was like, Jen, like, let me help you, it wouldn't have taken me so long to figure things out. I would have been on a much better path faster. But I mean, that was my journey that I had to go on.
Yeah. Well, I love that. And I think it's so important. Like you said, it's not even just about selling your salon when you go in there or trying to get like recruit and get them to work. It's building that relationship. Because it could be 2 years from now that somebody might reach out and be like, hey, like I went here, it wasn't, where I needed to go. And I'm ready and at this place where I value what you're saying and what you're doing and I want to be there. And I think it's so worth it. And I know it because I'm with the students, but they so many times it's the salons that are commenting on their social medias, commenting on their posts, encouraging them and supporting them. The salons that do that are getting our graduates. Like that's who is getting it because they feel like, oh, okay, it's not just that they're doing this like to everybody. It's me and they feel special about that. And they
Mm.
really do need that connection. I think through social media because that's how they're used to connecting. Now like us, I'm like, oh man, if we, if they ran into me or they popped in or whatever, like it's more of a personal connection, but they definitely need and desire that, their social media and the comments and all of that. So I think you're spot on with that. And I think that I know in our area we're so closely connected, but it's like the number one thing that I want salon owners to do more because I think it helps them understand the stylist that's coming up a little bit more too. I think going in, you're kind of seeing, schools get bashed a lot. And I'm not even saying that that's like all unjust. Like, I think that there are not schools that are doing what they're supposed to be doing, and definitely need to be held more accountable for that. And there's so many laws changing and all the things that schools are dealing with. But I do think on the other side of that, it does give salon owners like the glimpse into the room of, kind of what the beauty school student looks like now, and what they're wanting, and how you have to keep them engaged, and just all of those things too. So it's not that you're going to go in and you're like, oh, I have 20 people now that want to come work for me, but it might just be one that you connect with, but that's all you need, like just that one that's going to really understand you, and be able to start that relationship. I think that's so great. Now, on the other side of this for students, what advice do you have for young stylists and students right now? Do you have people that you can recommend for them to look up to and watch, and kind of what can they do while they're in beauty school? If they're eager, ready to run, what do you recommend for them?
Well, I believe that they need to be clear on what's good for them. So thinking about the environment that they want to be in, right? A flower in the wrong environment will die.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, a right environment, it's watered, it's nurtured, it's got the sunlight, it's going to grow and blossom. So you need to find the environment that suits you. A big salon, a small salon, a corporate salon. Each person is going to find something that speaks to them. And what's important, I would say, for students is do your due diligence. Look at the website. What is their style? Is it, if you're into like bold, vivid colors and piercings, tattoos, and does the vibe of that salon match what you have as your personality? And if it's not, it most likely won't be the right salon for you.
Mm-hmm.
Look at their Instagram. Are they relevant and active on Instagram? You need to make sure that you're going to a salon that's going to be supporting and helping you grow, and they're not stagnant. So we're going to see such a divide and shift of salons who are adapting and being active on social media and adapting to what future professionals are looking for, which is not that different from what we were looking for back then in 20 years. Support. You need support. You need education. I need help growing my business. Reach out to these salons. Can I shadow at your salon? Can I get a tour of your salon? Work on, for your resume. When I am looking at a resume, here's what I look for. What type of activities have you done besides the basics, the bare minimum? I mean, did you have a second job? Did you volunteer? I mean, even if it was like I'm in my church choir, or I, volunteer, I help my neighbor out with their lawn. Things like that tells me the type of character you are. Some of the resumes I get, I'm like, did you even try? Did you even like look to see where we're located? I will dismiss you immediately. If I see the lack of effort there, I won't even fancy it. So, put your effort into reaching out to these salons. And when you put your resume in, contact them, call them, walk in. It shows me that you're hungry. Thankfully, we get a lot of resumes, and I only have so much space in my salon. And the ones that are like persistent, I'm like, oh, they want it. Those are the people that I'm like, come on, why don't you come into this class? Let's get you in the door. Put some effort into your first job that you're going to can really set you up for success. Whatever that looks like to you. You want to grow professionally, you want to grow financially, you want to be surrounded by, a group of people who believe in you. You have to go find it.
No, that's so good. And I love that. And I think I'm like loving that you are backing up so much of what we tell our students right now, because I think just getting out there, it's hard. It's the scariest thing, but you have to do it in order to be successful. And I think the more that you can practice it, the better. Like I was telling students when we brought them up to ABS last year, like they had never been to a hair show, right? Like you're in beauty school. So they hadn't done that yet. And I'm like, go up and talk to everyone. Like, go introduce yourself, do it. Like, I know you're going to be scared or starstruck or whatever it is, but go say hello. Like, everyone is so kind. And if they're not, then you just move on. It's not about you. They might just be running to teach a class or something, like it's not like you don't have to get offended or whatever, but like go do it and they all did. And they would send me their selfies with like their favorite people. And that was just the best thing because I know what a challenge it was for them to put themselves out there and to do that. So if we have students listening that wants more information about you and about what you're doing or how to connect with you, where can we guide them for that?
Just follow me on Instagram, Jennifer Jade Alvarez. I personally answer every DM. So send me a DM. Let me know that you heard this podcast. And I'd love to hear about your career journey. And of course, if there's anything that I can help you with, guide you with, I will.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here today. I'm so thankful that we finally got to connect. It's been so great to get to know you a little bit more and to just hear your view of the industry and hear what you see going on. You've given such great advice for stylists and salon owners. And I just know that there's so much more than we can cover in an hour-long episode, but make sure that you go follow Jennifer for sure if you are listening. And thank you all so much for listening today. Thanks, Jennifer.
Thanks, Bobbi.